movie was about.
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classes, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the lens, capture.
Hello, Marvel fans. Welcome, movie fans. Welcome, everybody, to the Saturday. That's right, Saturday MCU Doomsday Hourglass presentation of Doctor Strange. Hey, it's your host, T-Will, and my guy, Jordan Burton. How you doing, Jordan? All well, brother?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Today we are talking about Doctor Strange. And as such, typically, Jordan, you'll have a wardrobe to kind of match the movie. So I'm wondering about your outfit today. Was this strategically designed, or did you just like, hey, man, this is what I'm wearing? Like,
hey, man, this is what I'm wearing.
I hear you. Hey, man,
Yeah.
some days it's like that, man. I totally get it. But you know what? It doesn't matter, man, because people don't care what we wear. They care that we talk about Marvel and Doctor Strange. And that's what we're here to do, man. Doctor Strange is the MCU's gateway into the mystical and cosmic side of the universe. Instead of tech and super soldiers, this film introduces magic, alternate dimensions, and reality manipulation, and I can't wait to get into it, brother. But first, the business, Jordan. And the business is, this was released November 4th, 2016, directed by Scott Derrickson. I don't know much about him, Jordan. You're typically our director guy. You know much about him? Before or after?
Not that I'm aware of. Oh, he did Scott Derrickson did he's more of a horror film director.
Okay. I can see that.
He did I love these movies. The Exorcism of Emily Rose is great. Sinister, which is probably Sinister is one of those horror movies. True horror fans will acknowledge it's one of the greatest horror movies ever, but the main general audience of horror fans or just movie fans in general have not watched it. That's always a movie that I will recommend. If you like horror, haven't watched Sinister's the movie.
And then scare me.
And then he also did both Black Phone movies, which are both.
I did like Black Phone 1. I own Black Phone 2. I haven't seen it. I thought Black Phone 1 was kind of catchy, so I did like it, but I hadn't seen Black Phone 2.
He also did an interesting one. So he did two. His movie history is so interesting because his directorial debut was Hellraiser Inferno, which is such a weird movie. It's one of the worst Hellraiser movies. And then he also did The Day the Earth Stood Still, that was one of those movies. I remember the marketing for that movie.
Is that an end of the world movie?
Yes. Where what's his name? Keanu Reeves plays an alien that comes to Earth. I mean, it's just a very odd movie. But he's mainly horror. Like or the thriller side or horror. So coming over to do this movie, very interesting, and it makes me wonder what Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness would have been if he was still directing that, because he is horror based. And I mean, I had heard what the movie was going to be, what Multiverse of Madness was going to be about. We'll get to that when we get to that movie, because the initial plans for Multiverse of Madness changed drastically. That movie went under so many changes. But I mean, you know, this directing wise, this feels like, for me, from a story perspective, and a lot of people agree, it's almost like a cookie cutter origin for a Marvel superhero, like that the hero the hero is like living his life great, undergoes some sort of change and brings him down, realizes that he's made a lot of issues and learns from that, grows with that, and becomes a superhero. It sounds like a lot of different movies, books, literature, whatever you want. A lot of heroes have undergone that. And that's the area where, from a story perspective, this movie's just but there are other elements of this movie, which is why I enjoy this movie a lot.
I can agree with you a little in that there are similarities, but the difference to me is, and the main difference is, his main gift is taken away, right? Yeah. Like when Peter Parker gets bit by a radioactive spider, his intelligence doesn't go anywhere. He's still intelligent. It just enhances it.
Yeah.
Even when Tony Stark is injured and he has the thing with his heart, his intelligence, which is his superpower, doesn't go anywhere. But Doctor Strange's hands, which are the lifeblood of what he does, are irreparably damaged. And so this is a little different because, I mean, think about it, Jordan. His superpower's taken away, right? So it's like, okay, if you can't, I'm going to take this away from you so that you can focus inward. So I think the journey, there are similarities. I'm not saying you're not right. I'm not vehemently disagreeing with you, but I'm saying it's different in that way, because let me tell you something. Stephen Strange is very arrogant.
Yes, very.
But he's good at his job. You know what I mean? And his mind is sharp. As a matter of fact, when the movie starts, the guy says, all right, you got to guess it. And he guesses the year, and he's like, no, it's the year after that. And he's like, no, that's when it was put out or produced, but it was released such and such. So the first thing we see of Stephen Strange is that he is very astute, very smart. I don't know if he has an idyllic memory, but at least a photographic memory. You have an idyllic memory, right, Jordan? Or do you have a photographic memory?
I do not have either. And you can look, I got family members that say, oh yeah, he does. No, I don't. I have a great memory. Like, well, I remember
too, because whenever I'm in the grocery store and Kim tells me to get something, I always ask you, and you'll be like, yeah, get this. So you got one to me. But anyway,
I don't know. I might.
I've experienced that twice. And, hey, Jordan, what did I forget? Oh, you forgot the bread. Okay, so you got one to me. Anyway, but Stephen Strange is a very gifted individual, and so when he goes through this, you kind of feel bad for him, you know. But there's a lesson in it for him. He has to be humbled, and the lesson for him is belief, right? And it's interesting. I was having a conversation with somebody. Was I having a conversation with somebody? Or maybe I was watching somebody having a conversation. I don't know. I may have been watching something on TV. I think I was watching some program or something. But this lady was saying, or it could have been a reel, whatever. I'll get to the point. Anyway, this guy was retelling the story about a mother who was, her son needed an operation. And the doctor who came in to talk about her son was like, yeah, I know what it was. It was Man on Fire, the Netflix series. Okay. So the doctor that came in to operate her son was a little impersonal, right? He was a little distant. And the lady was like, well, I pray that, God opens your heart and that you're more personable. And he says, ma'am, actually, you shouldn't pray that. Which you don't want the guy who is thinking, oh my God, if I don't get this, her son dies. You want the guy who looks at your son like a puzzle that he's going to solve, because that guy can take the pressure. That guy is probably going to be willing to go farther than somebody that you're talking about. And I think Doctor Strange has this in spades, but he looks at people as puzzles and entities to solve rather than looking at them as people, right? So anyway, enough T. Will.
And that gets into Multiverse of Madness, where he is the problem in a lot of in the multiverse.
Yes.
That his cockiness, his arrogance, it gets the best of him, and he then realizes that. But that's where we have issues with Multiverse of Madness. But again, we'll get to that. I think there's so much more to talk about with Multiverse of Madness, but a lot of like, there's again with the basic cookie cutterness. I love the beginning of this movie.
Okay.
But as soon as we get into the elements of meeting the Ancient One, that's where I felt like we were getting into the cookie cutter setup.
Okay.
And like, I really enjoyed him just falling apart. And it was something so awful and so bad, but I'm like, I really enjoy you. You were on this high, this arrogance, and I appreciated him with the doctor scene, that like his arrogance was right in like helping out get the bullet out of the guy's head.
Mm-hmm.
But he got to a point where it's like, I mean, he's one of the best surgeons in the country, in the world, and he believes that. So he gets into this accident and he's blaming everybody else for his own issues. And he's putting everybody else down. He's trying to bring everybody down with him. And I was thoroughly enjoying him going through all of these problems. And maybe if I was doing this movie differently, I would have had him find out about like those like ancient texts and stuff by himself, and then going over to Kamar-Taj. That like if him realizing that maybe I have not seen everything. So maybe that's the only thing I would change. I love the beginning. Yeah, I love him falling to grace. I love that. And him like literally getting on his knees in front of the Ancient One saying, "Teach me," and her saying no. Like, that's great. I love all the way to that point. Fantastic. But yeah, for the rest of this movie, it felt very standard of a film in terms of the plot itself.
I didn't like him falling apart. I know he was arrogant, right? Mm-hmm. But because to me, he pushed the one person who loved him away.
Yeah.
It's like,
and he needed to learn that. He needed to learn from that.
Well, he did, but I forget what he said to her. But he, you can tell like he's being a jerk, and it's wearing thin on her. And I forget what he said, but he makes this comment, and she's like, "Okay," and you can feel, right? You can feel in that moment, like, okay, that relationship's over. Mm-hmm. Like when he said it, she's like, "Okay, like have a nice life," and she left him. But here's the thing. He did blame other people,
mm-hmm.
but I don't think he was blaming them to blame them. I think he was blaming them because he really believed in his heart that he could have saved his hands. So I think his issue was, I could have done it, right? Like, I know they did the best that they could do, but I could have done it, right? Like, the first thing he says when he wakes up is, "What did they do to my hands?" And it's like, oh my God, like, you butchers. And he's saying, I could have done it better. And I think he really believes that. Now, true enough, he is an asshole to everybody. He really is. He's a lot to deal with. You know, as the young folks say, he's a lot. He is a lot to deal with. But I think it's 90% him being an asshole and 10% him. Gosh, I wish I would have had the. He's so arrogant. He's like, I wish I would have had the opportunity to operate on myself. I could have done it right. That's what he's saying, right? That's what he's saying. But anyway, let's get to the cast. So Benedict Cumberbatch is Dr. Stephen Strange. He also was in Sherlock, and I liked him in Sherlock. He was in that series.
Let me get into the casting for this. When I found out he was being cast as Doctor Strange, I knew in my heart there would be nobody else that would ever play Doctor Strange better than Benedict Cumberbatch.
Absolutely.
Before I even saw him on screen, and when I saw that teaser of him floating in the air with the cape oh man, when I saw the posters, the teaser posters, I was ready. I was like, this guy's going to be an incredible Doctor Strange. Forget about whatever the movie ends up being. He is going to be an incredible Doctor Strange. And
agreed.
Since then, he just has the look to him. He has the look of Doctor Strange from the pulled straight out of the comics.
He does.
And he nails it. Just like in the same sense that they pulled Robert Downey Jr. and got him to look in the first movie like Tony Stark.
Iron Man. But speaking of Tony Stark, who's a better Sherlock Holmes, RDJ or Benedict Cumberbatch?
I have not watched the shows.
Wow.
So when it comes to shows, I mean, I've watched the movies, and honestly, I do find the movies a little forgettable. I don't think I've watched, and I'll have to watch the show of Sherlock Holmes. I think I just like the literature on Sherlock Holmes a lot more than I like any sort of adaptation in film or so. I'd be very curious. I knew they both played Sherlock Holmes. It's hard for me to also look at Robert Downey Jr. in anything else and not think about Iron Man. Really, the only movie that didn't do that for me was, what was it, Road Trip with him and Zach Galifianakis. Which that movie, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. But everything else that I ever see of Robert Downey Jr., I'm like, yeah, that's Iron Man. Yeah, that's Iron Man. And it's funny because he's one of a very few set of actors throughout the MCU that I look at that way. Like with Benedict Cumberbatch, I do watch him in other things, and I'm like, he's a great actor. He's a fantastic actor. And I knew he was going to do a great job as Doctor Strange. I knew he was going to nail it. Like there's certain actors, like when I hear they're getting cast as this character, I'm like, they're going to nail this. They're going to do incredible. Like when I heard Vanessa Kirby was me Invisible Woman, I was like, oh yeah, that's my Invisible Woman right there. She's going to be fantastic. But some other actors, I look in other projects and I already know that they're a great actor, like Chris Evans. I've seen Chris Evans in things pre-Marvel that aren't comics and post-Endgame in one of his movies that he directed himself. And I'm like, he's such a multi-talented actor in so many different things. But Benedict Cumberbatch just... Man, I knew he was going to do a great job. Oh man, he does such a great job. And then who is out? Who else was in the cast for this?
Tilda Swinton was the Ancient One. Chiwetel Ejiofor was Mordo. Mads Mikkelsen was Cassilis. And Mads Mikkelsen played Hannibal Lecter in the series Hannibal. Yes. Rachel McAdams. Let me tell you something, man. I tell you what, man. I tell you what. Rachel McAdams, man. Woo!
I love her. She's so awesome.
I'm just saying, man. Rachel McAdams. Woo!
I've seen her in so many things that I have to I have to Google. I know. All right, so I was actually going to watch Send Help by Sam Raimi, which came out like a month ago. It's on Disney Plus right now, and she's in it.
Okay.
I'm very curious to see this movie. I've heard very mixed reviews, but I'm very curious her performance in it because I don't see her in horror movies all that often.
Oh, Sid Help is a horror movie?
Yes, it's yeah. It's the first Sam Raimi horror film since I believe since Evil Dead, or no, since what the heck was that movie?
Devil.
I think Devil. Yeah.
That freaked me out, man. When it ended up being the old lady, man, that scared me. So woo, that one got me, man.
But Rachel McAdams, there's so many things that I've seen her in that I all right. One of my guilty pleasures, because I'm a hopeless romantic, is I love the time traveler's wife's concept. I don't know if you've seen the movie or the show. I love the show.
I think I may have.
I don't think we've gotten great adaptations, but the whole concept behind the idea that this guy can't control the fact that he can time travel and time travel to different points in his life. So he's jumping from like 5 years old to 50 years old to 30 years old, 70 years old, 13 years old. And he's jumping around to all these points in his life. And this story is really about the wife and her meeting him and going on this journey with him and just dealing with all of the problems that go along with this. It's like you're meeting this person at different points in their life. Hey, they're meeting you at different points in their life. And it's just the whole idea behind it is so fascinating to me. But she's been in The Hot Chick, hilarious movie that I shouldn't have been watching at like 5 years old. I've seen her in what was that other movie? She's been in a lot of like romantic movies. The Vow is another one. Another movie with a great plot. Someone loses their memory and has to re-fall in love with them. And your like husband needs to re-fall in love with you after she gets into an accident. And I'm like, wow, that's a great concept.
Is that like 50 First Dates?
It's
where she has no permanent memories, so she can't make new memories. Like she forgets.
No. So she gets into an accident and forgets everything.
Okay.
And
but it's just one time. It's okay. I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
So like she like Channing Tatum's her love interest in that, and he is like, I mean, they're married, and he's just trying to like. He's trying to like have her remember, and she's just having a hard time like having any sort of feelings. And like it'd be like you waking up tomorrow next to someone that you don't know, and you're told by everyone around you. I had a dream like this, which is so weird. I had where that you are married to this person and you're in love with this person, but you don't feel it. And it's like, that's such an interesting concept, the whole thing. But Rachel McAdams, fantastic actress, love her. I don't think I've watched a bad role for her. And even in this movie, this is one of those movies, I think Multiverse of Madness, you needed her a little bit more. And I think her importance was there for Multiverse of Madness. But like in this movie, like her relationship with Steven is like probably the third plot of this movie, fourth plot of this movie. Like it's not up there. Like there are other more important things in this movie than their relationship.
Yeah.
And by the end of this movie, we don't really, they're really in a similar spot that they were when they started the film. Like it's like they started the film as like close, like they
on the edge of being exclusive.
Yes.
Right on the edge of being exclusive.
Yeah. Then they grew further apart, and then they went back to that same spot by the end of this movie. So really we didn't see any sort of growth in their relationship. We saw change, but not growth. But either way, still a fantastic job. Mads Mikkelsen. He was actually, I think he regrets playing this role.
You think so?
I'm pretty sure. I was trying to figure out what it was, but if you ask him about this role, he regrets playing Caecilius because of the way he was written. And I agree with him. I think every time I watch this, I'm like, he just has a terrible, like, there's no reasoning. There's truly no good reasoning behind what he's doing in this film. There's no, like, background. Like, it's really just scorn for, like, the Ancient One. And I'm like, and that he wants power and stuff like that. But then I'm like, why? Why do you want this? I'm gonna ask this question. Like you need to develop this character a little bit better. Give better background as to why he's doing all of this. Like,
they definitely needed to develop it better.
What they could have done is done parallel stories like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, where you could have Doctor Strange and Caecilius going down similar paths,
parallel arcs.
Yes, parallel arcs, and that way we are able to relate to the villain more. But nobody relates to this villain at all, and in the end, it just feels. And in the end, his character is pointless.
Yeah, he's kind of like Darth Maul with spoken parts.
Yes, very much. And then shout out to my guy Benedict Wong. I love him. Fantastic.
As Wong, ironically, as Wong.
Wong is. It's also awesome. We have our two main heroes in this are named Benedict. Love it. Wong is hilarious. I love him in everything. I will continue to anything that he's in. I will watch it. Even in She-Hulk, he was always one of the best parts.
Yeah, I
love it. Shout out Wong.
Shout out to Wong. Excuse me. Did 677 million worldwide. So not a billion, but still not bad for the first go around out there. Not bad at all. So yeah, man, let's get into the plot of it all. Okay. And I'll tell you what, man, that scene where there's the accident and you see his hands go through the dashboard and go through all of those components, and you're like, oh my goodness. It just ended up. I felt bad for him. It's interesting. I gotta thank you every day that we do these, man, because when I go back and watch these, I look at it from a different lens, and I realize just what a shallow person I am. I was a very shallow person before we started doing this, because if it wasn't action, if it wasn't sexy, I just didn't care. And you miss all the details, right? And I don't know. I don't know what was going on with me, but in looking at this, they did a great job of that. The camera work, the way that was done, the setup, his hands going through it. They did a great job of showing you this guy will never operate again. Okay. It's taken away from him, right? And look he does everything that he does. He has multiple surgeries. He runs out of money. That's the thing. She makes a comment about him running out of money and him spending it like water. And I don't know if that was the straw that broke the camel's back, but he goes off on her and she leaves. And this is the beginning of his downward spiral. And I think he goes, he's looking for answers anywhere. And he hears about this guy who was injured. I think he was paralyzed or he couldn't walk. And he goes to this doctor and he's able to walk again. And I think this guy's played by Benjamin Bratt. I can't think of his character's name, but he goes to see him. And Benjamin Bratt tells him of this place that he went to and tells him about the Ancient One, although I don't think he calls her the Ancient One. But he says that they did heal him. And this starts Strange's journey to go find the Ancient One, right? And And again, in one of the most visually iconic moments the MCU occurs when the Ancient One sends Strange's astral form through multiple dimensions. And it's funny because he walks in or whatever, and he is talking trash, and she's telling him about, I think she shows him, what is it, acupuncture, and she shows him an MRI, and she shows him, basically points in the body, and her thing is he doesn't believe. So he's like, whatever, I've seen this. Are you telling me this is dime store science? Are you telling me this? And he's talking trash. And she just pokes him and sends his soul into another plane. And it's funny because he's like, oh my God, ah! And he's falling and going through different dimensions, and his mind is blown. And I got to be honest, if I'm Strange in this scene right here, dude, I'd be flipping out. I would be flipping out. Jordan, I've been talking way too much. Talk to me about this scene. Talk to me about what's going through your mind when this happens, man.
So, all right, so I'll give some background to me seeing this for the first time for this, because this movie came out on my birthday in 2016, and this is the last movie that I saw in IMAX 3D. I used to go see movies just strictly in 3D all the time. Mainly it started with the Transformers franchise because I love the Transformers franchise, and watching in 3D is the best way of watching those movies. I also grew up on Shark Boy and Lava Girl, which I had that with the 3D glasses of both Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And I love 3D. I know it's kind of stupid, kind of pointless, but I don't care. This movie, I knew when this movie was coming out and watching the trailers, I'm like, I feel like I have to see this in 3D. Like, I have to see how this movie looks in 3D. And getting into this scene, just watching it all happen, this movie has the best effects of any Marvel movie ever. By far, it's not even close. Even better than Multiverse of Madness, because I think Multiverse of Madness holds back in a lot of areas. But this movie just is going through the dimensions. I mean, we learned a lot in this scene. She says, "Who are you in this vast multiverse, Mr. Strange?" The first direct acknowledgement of the multiverse is in this movie.
Yep.
And we're learning about different dimensions and stuff, and just him going through just like, it's incomprehensible. That's one thing I love about this movie, and I had this conversation with you yesterday, was this movie. I love movies that have me thinking and asking questions. Most of the time, as someone who wants to learn and love learning, if I don't know something, I will look it up. There's things I can't figure out with this movie. Like, all right, what happens if you die in the mirror dimension? What dimension are we in here? What happens when we go here, and what happens to the people of the world when we go into certain dimensions and stuff? And I'm just like, I don't think I want to know. With this movie, it's just so fun to watch and watch the effects play out that I'm just like, I don't even care what's going on anywhere else. It's just really cool to look at. And I especially this scene, and you hear an Ancient One talking in the background saying like Mordo's like his heart rate's really increasing to like unhealthy level, and she's like, he'll be fine. like it's just this whole entire time I'm like, this is so incredible to look at. And this is the first part for me whenever I get to my rewatch of the whole MCU, or just multiverse connected movies. When I get to this movie, this is the movie that makes me mentally realize we are very close to Infinity War and Endgame. Like, this is as soon as I get to Doctor Strange, knowing like all the stuff that I learn, and this movie to this day, I'm still asking questions, that when I get here, I'm like, I know we are this close to Endgame, because I know that this end credit scene gets into Thor Ragnarok, and Ragnarok ties directly into Infinity War. So I know this movie, I know where we are at here is such an important part in not just the Infinity Saga, but the multiverse saga too. It's important to this day. This movie is very important and very critical to Doctor Strange's story and wherever Doctor Strange is in Marvel at this current moment.
Yeah. I think what's interesting to me about the scenes in which they're in different universes or dimensions, and you and I were talking about this yesterday, is my question is, let's say you and I go into a different dimension and there are 12 people on that street and you start flipping things sideways and building sideways. What happens to the people that are on that street? Because we don't see them, right? So they enter in this dimension, right? We never see them. We see Strange and the Ancient One and Mordo and Wong and Caecilius and his homies. But the regular people, the civilians, we see them and then we don't see them. So my question is, because here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Dormammu's actions coming to our reality was going to do all of that damage, then why would not the people in the multiple dimensions be impacted in the same way? It's another dimension. That's what I didn't understand.
That's where it's like, it's the same thing as saying, like, when you look into a mirror, right? That person, that reflection can't be hurt. That reflection can't physically be hurt. Only you can be physically hurt. So when you're in the mirror dimension, it's like you are the reflection.
I got you.
Then you can be hurt. But everybody on the other side, all they are is a mirror version of themselves. So if you were to see other people in the mirror dimension, they're just reflections. They can't be hurt unless they are hurt in the other side. So, like, going to the mirror dimension, that's the way I've interpreted it. Could be completely wrong, but when I hear mirror dimension, I think just reflections and stuff like that. So when people go, that's why when the Ancient One says you want to practice these spells and stuff, go to the mirror dimension, because that way you can't hurt anyone else, because they're just reflections for you.
Right. And of course, Strange has to find a cheat code. You know what I mean? So he secretly studies forbidden magic because that's who he is. He's the guy that's always arrogant. Well, this applies to them, but I'm Strange. I'm smarter than everybody, so I'm going to do that. And they catch him doing something, and Mordo is pissed. And let's talk about Mordo for a minute. So Mordo is a true believer, and like most true believers, and when I say true believer, not that the Ancient One has a cult, but in most cults, okay, there's a circle. They're the casual guys who are kind of in the outer ring. You know, they're the seasoned ones who've been there for a while and they believe a little more. And then in the inner circle is the true believers. Those are the guys that'll be the first to drink the Kool-Aid and go on with Jim Jones if the time presents itself. And Mordo is a true believer, and he is a bit naive, okay, because the Ancient One, who has told them, you don't go to the dark dimension, you don't mess with anything in the dark dimension, has extended her life using the dark dimension, right? And this is Caecilius's main issue with her. And I'll give you, it is a little mustache villain twirly in that, okay, so you found out that she used the dark dimension not to kill people, not to do wrong to people, but to live, and that forced you to go crazy and call Dormammu to it. Like, that's a little mustache twirly. That's a little, we needed more depth in the characters. So I will give you that. But Mordo is a bit naive in that when he finds out that she used dark magic to basically live on, that he's really pissed about this because he feels like he's been deceived and he feels like he can't trust anybody. Okay. And it's just interesting that somebody at his position would be that naive, especially as an adult, I mean, look it. You can promise a million things, but you can't be that naive to say that anybody who ever experienced a modicum of success didn't cheat a little bit, didn't take at least one or two shortcuts. You know what I mean? You don't get to be a billionaire. I'm not saying she's a billionaire. I'm just comparing it. Yeah. I'm doing a comparison. You don't get to be a billionaire by not stepping on a few toes. You're going to upset some people, and you're probably going to have to do some things that you can or won't talk about. And it's the same thing with her. And I think this is where he falls out. And I think this is gonna come to light later on in the movie, once everything settles. But he becomes really, really disenchanted with her and the fact that, you know, this happens.
And he has a moral epiphany there. And I won't get into that. But I won't get into what I was going to say, but I will get into, like, he realized that something that he believed in and what he thought was the right thing was actually something that went against his moral codes and went against something that he acknowledged, or he started to not trust that. And, you know, I mean, I think he was right in doing that. I mean, if Doctor Strange felt the same way, I think he'd be right in doing that too. It's just Doctor Strange understands that Doctor Strange understood that this is a human being, and that's where he's learning. That's where his character is developing. He's starting to care. He's not seeing them as just bodies. He's not seeing them as puzzles. Mm-hmm. He's acknowledging people that we can grow as human beings. And while Kaecilius, because Kaecilius has known her for so long, Doctor Strange has known her for like what, a month, maybe
a hot minute,
a week, yeah, like Kaecilius, they're not Kaecilius, Mordo, yeah, Mordo. He's known her for how long? And I love that he tells Doctor Strange where he was when he first started, that he was broken, and that that they almost went the same path, but he's known her for so long. So for her to have lied this whole time and say like, this is bad, and then proceed to do that bad thing, it's like, you are a hypocrite.
No, definitely.
She is a hypocrite. And that's where Kaecilius, like, if you switch out Mordo and Kaecilius, right? Maybe you take Mordo completely out of the equation and replace him with Kaecilius, or you take Kaecilius out of the equation, and this is how you develop the villain of this movie. That would have been great. And this whole Mordo's journey in the MCU has still not been really acknowledged post this movie, and I still wish we would have seen that. There is a deleted scene in Multiverse of Madness that was filmed, that was not released to the public, that would have probably made that movie rated R. And I will get into that when we get into that movie, but that's why Sam Raimi's the GOAT.
It's not a bone chicka wow wow, is it?
No.
Okay. All right. Just saying.
Well, it includes a very graphic death. Let's put it that way. Very graphic. It would have been the most graphic scene in a Marvel movie ever.
Oh wow!
And honestly, with how think about where Multiverse of Madness is in terms of how graphic that movie is. It would have been more graphic than anything in that movie.
That's hardcore, man.
You can if you want to read up on what happened to Mordo in that movie, you can do that. But that's something I do want to talk about with Multiverse. There's a lot I want to talk about with Multiverse of Madness. I love that movie. It's got flaws, but I still love the movie. But Mordo goes on this journey, and I mean, we don't know where that is at this current time, even if you're all caught up on all of Marvel. And I'm still curious to see where that's headed, because it seemed like he was going the route of trying to take powers from all the sorcerers. And I'm just very curious where that ends up going. Or if it doesn't go anywhere at all. But again, you could have spun it in a way that's like, okay, Mordo finds out this, and then in the same movie tries to go against her, and because he feels betrayed. Like that, because Caecilius, we don't feel the betrayal. We don't see the betrayal happen. We're just seeing post betrayal. So we're like, okay, where are we at in this character's journey? If we had seen this before, then maybe we would relate to Caecilius a little bit more. But we don't. So yeah, another thing I want to touch on is another thing this movie introduces that sets up like Infinity War Endgame. We're introduced to time travel with the Time Stone. And this ends up being one of the most important in my opinion, it's the most important.
Right.
Like, in my opinion, this is the most important Infinity Stone. A lot of people disagree. This is a very debatable topic. And for me, it's the Time Stone because of where Infinity War ends up going. What is the one thing that is the reason Thanos ends up winning in the end is the Time Stone. The Avengers would have won if the Time Stone didn't exist. We would not gotten to Endgame. And the events of Endgame end up being because in Infinity War, Doctor Strange used the Time Stone to see like 1.3 million different outcomes. And because of that set up the events of time travel in Endgame. This movie inherently sets up everything we need for time travel and time in Infinity War and Endgame, and there's so much it sets up for the rest of this saga, and the multiverse saga, and this movie is so important and crucial to this day.
That is very true, my friend. That is very true. All right, so we've kind of talked through Act 1 and Act 2. Act 3, the Ancient One dies, leaving Strange to step up. Caecilius opens a portal to bring Dormammu to Earth. Strange confronts Dormammu using the Time Stone that you just talked about. And he traps him in a time loop, forcing a bargain. Strange saves Earth and becomes protector of the Sanctum. And I thought this was genius in the way that he did it. I thought it was awesome. But this pisses Mordo off as well. Because you know what? He felt like Strange used more dark magic to do that. And I think even Wong is like, come on, man. This is the only way we were going to win, right? This is the only way we were going to win. And Mordo's like, you know what? I've had enough of the both of yous. Okay? I'm going to go do my own thing. Because you guys are not following the path, the righteous path. And Jordan, I ask you, to me, that was the only way they were going to win. Yeah. If he doesn't use dark magic to defeat Dormammu, he's not going to win. Or do I have this wrong?
I mean, and I don't even think it was dark magic. I mean, I think Mordo's just looking at it as, you shouldn't be like bargaining with people like that. And it's like, okay, bro, how would you have what would you have liked to do, Mordo?
Right.
What would you love to do in this situation? I would love to ask this. Also, this let me get into all right, the Ancient One's death. First of all, her falling and dying like that. I remember being in the theaters and being like, oh, okay, we're gonna just show all of it. Anyway, she just goes splat like a whew. It's like cracking an egg and just yeah. And anyway, fast forward to the actual like the time loop. So smart. I knew after the first time he switched back what was going to happen. I was like, he's going to put him in a time loop and this is going to be hilarious. And I love it. And I remember the people that I watched this with the first time they saw this movie, they were like, did the movie skip? They were like, every person that I've talked to has been like, did the movie skip? What's going on? Why are we back to this? And then they realized, oh, they were in a time loop. And it is so smart. Like, and I you could have done this so many more times throughout the MCU, but just doing it once. And this is a huge risk because it makes the finale anticlimactic. It inherently makes it anticlimactic because it's like, what could Dormammu couldn't have done anything. He couldn't have done anything else.
Oh, that was checkmate. That was checkmate.
Yes.
Yeah, that was checkmate. Yeah.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
So, in fact, to this day, if someone says something about bargaining, I'm like, I've come to bargain. that's I immediately think about this scene. Is such a high risk. Some people are gonna love it. Some people are gonna hate it. And I personally love it. I do know a lot of people that don't like it because it's very anticlimactic. But I think this was a good ending. It wasn't a great ending. It also inherently shows us that there are forces beyond our realm that can hurt us, like Dormammu, who's one of the most dangerous villains in all of Marvel Comics. And showing Dormammu also visually awesome to look at.
Yeah, it was. It was awesome.
So he's just in fact, do you know who voiced Dormammu?
I don't.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Really?
Yes, he did.
I did not know that. Okay.
It's very, and even when you go back, you really can't hear him. And every time I've watched this, I'm like, I can't hear Benedict Cumberbatch whatsoever. But yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch voices Dormammu in Doctor Strange. So I love this. I love this ending. I like it because it also shows that maybe this is a blessing and a curse because it shows how arrogant Doctor Strange is, and it just increases his arrogance. It's like, yeah, I trapped an interdimensional beam being in a time loop. Like I'm kind of that guy. I'm kind of him.
Well, he is. Now let's hold on. I got to stop you right there. He is him. Okay. Let's be real. Okay.
He was already cocky enough. He's already arrogant enough.
If Kobe Bryant were alive and on this podcast, he would say, "Yep, he's him." Dude, he trapped this interdimensional demon, tricked him, beat him he is him, and he thought of it like that. Mm-hmm. He thought of it on a whim, bro. Like that's hey man, hey, if you can do it, if you can wear it, everybody's not built like that, man. Doctor Strange is different, as the young folks say. He is him. He is him. Again, I want to talk about the dynamic between Strange and his love interest. What's her name? Oh, gosh. What's her name? What's her name in the movie? Damn it. T-Will. What is her name? Her name is Jesus.
I just call her Rachel
Christine
McAdams.
Palmer, Rachel McAdams' character. So what's interesting is every time he gets in trouble, like he gets injured and he teleports to the hospital and she's got to look at him and she helps him out. And I think it's really cool when he's on the table and the ninja dude, I can't think of his name, but he's in a lot of martial arts movies. But when Caecilius dispatches him and he and Strange have the fight astrologically, I guess.
Yeah,
they are
on the astral. It's like an astral. The astral in their astral forms and their astral projections are
fighting.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool, especially when Strange astro projects out of his body and comes back and is like, "Hey, I think you need to do this," and she's like, "What? What?" And you know what I mean? And he freaks her out. But just the whole fight scene there I liked it. It was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. And then when he brings the Ancient One back and just him, it shows that at the end of the day, he trusts her. Mm-hmm. And there's a respect that he has for her and appreciation that he now has that he didn't have before. Kind of talk to that, man. Let's talk to that relationship and that dynamic and what's displayed in those scenes.
Yeah, I think this is probably the deepest their relationship gets outside of the first act of this film, and from the deepest it gets to like how close they are.
Yeah.
Like he's very arrogant. And so he believes that he can do things
just
right.
about anything.
Yes. So for him to have that faith in someone and that trust in someone, that says a lot for someone of his character. So, and again, this does set up the sequel. A lot of people don't feel like this Multiverse of Madness is a great sequel to Doctor Strange, and they feel like there's a lot missing in between. But there's a lot of moral stories that are brought back up in that movie. And especially, there's a quote, and I'm going to say it here, and I didn't think I was going to say it because I want to save it for the Multiverse of Madness, but I'll say it again then when we get to that movie. When he says, "I love you in every universe," that line and that line delivery hit me like a bag of bricks. Like, that hit me so hard. I'm like, wow. I don't think there's many movies that I could hear someone say that kind of line in. But the way he delivers that, and the way, the way the movie sets up, and like he sees her getting married, he sees her in different universes, and he just says, like, "I loved you in every universe." I'm just like, bro, I felt that. Ooh, you're hitting me. I was like, that's a good line. We're gonna use that. When we go out tonight. No, that I love, and that's where their relationship really grows. Now that's not his Christine Palmer, but it wasn't for her. It was for him. That he needs to mentally understand that. So regardless of whatever happens with this Christine Palmer, he needs to. This was more for his own moral sake. So this movie sets up the groundwork for their relationship. Because he snapped away, I mean, she finds someone else, and that kind of separates their relationship. Now, I wish there could have been some sort of reconciliation with that. And
does she die in the comics?
I don't know. I don't really know much about Christine Palmer's character in the comics, though. I actually know more about Wong's character in the comics than I know about Christine Palmer. I don't know much about any of Doctor Strange's love interests.
Okay.
In fact, they introduced I forget what her name is. That's played by Charlize Theron in the end credit scene.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Madness. I know she's a love interest of Doctor Strange as well. She's the daughter of Dormammu. Again, there's so many tie-ins between these two movies, and I have to bring that up because there's so many people that feel like there should have been a movie in between. But yeah. I disagree. I think there was. I think it's really well done. So yeah, I love their relationship. I love that this. I wish they could have gotten a little bit closer in this film specifically. That way it could set up a little bit more of a heartbreak in Multiverse of Madness. But otherwise, yeah, I really like their dynamic as a whole in this movie.
Yeah, I did too. And it kind of was anticlimactic, but you know what? At the end of it all, Mordo decides, you know what? Hey, man, I'm going off on my own. Okay, guys, we've been doing this, boy band for a while. I'm going to go get a solo album. My album comes out Tuesday. It's Mordo. It's Lonely at the Top. Peace, dudes. Okay? Because we don't stand for the same thing. Okay? I'm for truth, justice, and the American way sometimes. And you guys aren't. Okay? And I'm going to roll. Deuces. And he leaves. And like you say, we don't see him again. So I'm very interested to see if he will reappear. I tell you what else I liked about is the fact that the Cape found him and the Cape was trying to help him out. And especially when he opens the portal, or I think the first time he battles Caecilius, and the Cape is trying to get him to grab this weapon. The Cape's like, no, let's go back here. And he's like, no. And it's the Cape was kind of funny. It was kind of like Snoopy. If Snoopy was a Cape, maybe not, but it was like a sidekick. Like a dog, if a dog were a Cape. but I just thought it was kind of cool. Like the cape is probably his best friend because the cape never leaves him, and the cape is always for him. And I just think it's dope, right? And it's a little bit of foreshadowing when Mordo says, he says a weapon will find you. He says the weapon chooses you or something like that. And I think his cape is literally the weapon that chooses him. So I just thought that was kind of cool, man. But yeah, you know, all in all, great movie. Enjoyed it. I definitely think that Strange's character arc is that he is humble during this process. And I will say he does emerge differently. He's not the Doctor Strange at the beginning of the movie is almost unbearable. I mean, outside of being in the surgery room, most people would probably hate this guy. Whereas the guy who emerges from that is a little different, right? Like when he meets Tony Stark, that is hilarious because they are the same guy. When Tony, I forget what Doctor Strange did something, and Tony says, "Did you really do that? I'm going to allow that." And it was hilarious because you got two really big egos in the same room. And it's just that interaction to me was priceless because you're really talking about two sides of the same coin. Okay. Tony Stark is brilliant. Okay. Doctor Strange is brilliant. And that's exactly how these are both alpha dogs. That is exactly how that interaction would go. But I thought that was good. But what I will say is I think Doctor Strange literally emerges a better person from the experience. I think he does consider people more. I think he's far more. I think you touched on something when you said he looks at people as people and no longer puzzles. I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that was cool. As far as the special effects, I think this is one of the best Marvel movies ever because you really can't tell the difference between the mirror dimension and reality. They did a great job of the special effects on that. I got to give it to them. It was excellent. And it was funny because as the action's going on, I'm like, you get in the beginning, you're like, what's going on? And then you're like, oh, you need to do something to create a portal there. And you're like, oh, you need to do this and you need to whatever. And it was pretty good, man. It was pretty good. That was the thing that was better the second time around when I watched.
And I think, like, all right, I do say Eternals is visually the most stunning Marvel movie. This movie has the best effects of any Marvel movie. Like, if I'm gonna give it an award to if we're gonna do an award show, and I was giving awards to like movies throughout this whole process, I would definitely give this movie the best special effects by far. And it's frankly not even close. I know people are going to say Multiverse of Madness. There might be some people who say WandaVision for some reason. There might be some people that say Endgame. There might be some people that say one of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They ain't even close, bro. This movie on a special effects level is on another level.
Yeah, it is.
That, in my opinion, I mean, I'm going to guarantee, I'm not Googling this, but I guarantee this movie did not win Best Special Effects at the Oscars. I would love to see what movie did, because I guarantee you this didn't. But like when he's going through and going to the dimension to see Dormammu, like all the colors they use, like it takes all it. We see all the colors and stuff, like like the aliens and stuff, from Guardians of the Galaxy, from WandaVision. We see like great colors, bright colors, and we understand what we're looking at. We're like, oh, planet, oh, aliens, oh, cool, oh, suns, stars, stuff like that.
Not to cut you off, but like, you know what movie won for 2016?
What?
Ex Machina.
I honestly, in my opinion, I would say only the Transformers franchise has had the best special effects I've ever seen in a movie is the Transformers franchise through and out. Because every time I watch the Transformers transform, even in 2007, there are people on the internet saying I can't comprehend like that the CGI was this good, and that we still can't even get this good in any other movie in 2026. Like it's so fun that it's just so crazy, and we don't get into like dimensions. Like in this, there's stuff we are looking at, and I'm like, what are we even looking at? Is this a planet? Is this like an atom? Is what even is all of this? These are questions that I'm constantly asking myself, and why I like this movie so much to this day, because I'm constantly asking myself questions. What are these things? But I don't need. Yes,
the details. Like
incredible.
when he's going through different universes, and it's a hand, and then it's a million hands, and it's an eyeball, and then it's a million eyeball. And I got a headache watching that. Like, damn! But they did that to show you that there were literally millions of dimensions within dimensions within dimensions. I ain't gonna lie, I couldn't be Doctor Strange. I did. I couldn't. That's a lot of information to process at that quick, at that pace. To outsmart Dormammu is because you had to think dimensionally. Okay, if I do this and do this and do that, you could argue. Excuse me. You could argue. I don't know if you'd be right, but you could make an argument that if Doctor Strange is not the most important hero in the Marvel universe, he is one of them, and it's because when he messes up, that shit's world extinction level. Like the stuff with Peter Parker and Spider-Man, that has consequences that are still reverberating that we won't see. The stuff he did in Multiverse of Madness has consequences. As a matter of fact, that's why Charlize Theron's character comes to get him, because she's like, you did something and it messed up this dimension, and guess what? You're going to help me fix it. She doesn't even give him a choice. She doesn't even give him a choice, right? So from that, what I'm saying is, you have to be so. It's almost like the Watcher. The Watcher sees everything, but he can't do anything because just the tiniest action can have dire consequences. Same thing with Doctor Strange, or do you agree? Give me your thoughts on that.
Well. With Doctor Strange, I mean, yeah, he's so important. Like, think about like,
we don't win Endgame without him.
We don't win Infinity War, or the situation in Infinity War is completely different because it doesn't set up Endgame. Because when we don't win, and we don't get into the situation of Endgame without Doctor Strange. Because in Infinity War, him going through all 1 million outcomes and telling Tony Stark that
it was 16 million, whatever the number was, something like that,
and telling Tony Stark, we won one. I just went through and saw every single outcome. We won one of those outcomes. That's not even all the situations, by the way. Like, those are only the outcomes he saw. So it's very possible that it was a greater percentage, highly unlikely, that they did win. But
almost as high a percentage as the Braves beat the Phillies, before. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
Okay. I'll remember that. I'll remember that. I'm gonna remember that. I will remember that. You mess with the wrong person with the wrong memory. I got great memory. You're gonna be like, I don't remember ever saying that. I'm gonna be like, clip it. Wrong. Wow. Anyways,
it was a joke, man. Come on.
I remember it.
George gonna send me a million Philly memes after this is over.
Yeah,
and probably. Oh my god. Anyway,
but he he tells Tony all of this. He also gives Thanos willingly the time stone.
Yes.
Basically saying that like there's no outcome where we get out of this alive.
Right.
And we win. Like we are gonna lose this. He needs to get the time stone. We need to go with that one situation. And that one situation was giving him the time stone.
Yeah. It's also why he's in the Illuminati.
Yes.
For Marvel. That's first of all, the Illuminati is not talked about. And I've said this before. And I know you get sick of me saying it, Jordan. Damn it, but it needs to be said again. The Illuminati and the universe and the multiverse of madness, they were stupid because the real Illuminati, all of them would not have died. Okay. Submariner, Tony Stark, Reed Richards, Doctor Strange, dude from the Inhumans that I can never remember his name.
Black Bolt.
Yeah. And Professor X. They would not have somebody would have figured out we don't need to mess with her. Mm-hmm. Somebody would have figured out real quick, hey guys, we need to leave. Mm-hmm. We are not gonna win this. We need to leave. But anyway, my point is Doctor Strange is very, very intelligent. Okay. Mm-hmm. But like they say that Reed Richards is the most intelligent man on Earth. Tony Stark's up there. Blue Marvel is up there, although Blue Marvel's not in the Illuminati. But Doctor Strange is up there. He's on the Illuminati for a reason, is what I'm saying. So I did not realize before this just how capable and how prodigious a fighter he is. Not in the traditional sense, but his mind. He's like Tony Stark in that way, and that he's very adaptable, right? Like Tony Stark in most Iron Man movies, and correct me if I'm wrong, half the time his shit isn't working. Tony, we're only at 30%. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. And you know what? I'm going to take a pencil sharpener and electrocute it, and I'm going to kill you, because he's that smart. And he's adaptable, and he can react in crisis. You know what I mean? I'm terrible at that. My wife is great at that. Okay? My wife is like, in my job, I'm very technical. But my wife in a crisis, you don't want T-Will. If your life is on the line, do not call me. You want to call
me. You can call me. I'm really good. I've been told I'm really good under pressure. I get that a lot. I'm really calm because I'm really calm. But even when I'm not calm, people are like, "You're so calm," and I'm like, "Really? I was? I didn't think I was." I've given presentations, I've given speeches at weddings, and in my head I'm just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to speak and stuff. And then afterwards, and like, or I'll give speeches at work in front of like all incoming freshmen. Yeah. And I have parents and parents coming up to me saying, "You did a fantastic job," and I'm just like, "Oh. Thanks. I was dying inside, but thanks."
I probably took a year off my life, but thank you. I appreciate it.
But it's like, I don't know. It's you have to just try to remain calm in those situations for other people. So like I've had situations where something happens at work, a different job that I was at where someone got hurt. Someone had to call 911. I'm trying to help her, and I'm telling someone else to call 911 because I'm trying to help her. And there are so many other people with more experience around me that are blacking out, not knowing what to do. And this girl is not calling 911. I said, "Give me the phone." And I'm on the phone with 911 trying to help this girl, and I'm like, okay. Like I'm glad there are professionals here. I'm not gonna say names at all because this is ridiculous. In this field, professionals who have degrees, doctorates, who aren't calling 911 or aren't helping this lady, who are also blacking out. So for that, this is a teaching lesson. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter or how much education you have, doesn't matter how much experience you have. When you get into those situations, Are you going to black out or are you going to remain calm? For me,
Okay.
I say that I remain calm. I credit that to my family for being very calm in certain situations, even though they can be not calm in others. But I've learned to be very calm in those situations because that's what you gotta be. You just
That's
gotta
what
be calm.
that's what you gotta do.
Like yesterday I was somewhere. I'm not gonna say where I was. I was somewhere.
Right.
Someone else was freaking out, and I'm like, and it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't a big deal in the grand scheme of things. It
Right.
wasn't that big of a deal, and I'm just trying to calm this person down who is twice my age, and I'm like, hey, it's okay. Mama say, Mama Sama Makusa, Kumbaya.
Mama say, Mama Sama
Like,
Makusa. Mama say, Mama Sama Makusa.
and she's like, what did you say to me? I was like, Kumbaya. Mama say, Mama Sama Makusa.
Makusa. Mama say, Mama
like,
Sama Makusa.
Like,
Does he do one of those in that song as well? That's the same one, right? Isn't that Wannabe starting? Isn't that the one where you said he doesn't say no? That was off the wall. Does he?
No, Wannabe started something. He says, "Mama say, Mama Sama Makusa."
We talk about Michael Jackson, guys. If you had to guess, we're doing a detour. Go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, he says, all right. I was just talking to my mom yesterday about that song because I have so many issues because I'm like, what the heck is the song even about? But then there's actually a very deep meaning to the song, and I'm like, wow, okay, because in that song, it's so random. He says, "You're a vegetable." You're a vegetable.
You're a vegetable.
And I guess there's so many people that are like, oh, he does say that. And
what
he
about
says you're
what
a buffet.
He says after that? Does he say still they hate you?
No, and they eat off of you. He says you're a vegetable. You eat off of you.
I don't know. I have to stop. I don't think he was like. I think Michael just went into his own world.
So no, do you understand? So I found out why he says that. Do you understand? Do you know why he says all of that? Not. The buffet. You're a vegetable. They eat off of you. So the whole song's purpose is that people will just say things just to say anything and to treat you mean
and dine off of your misery.
And so they will literally eat off. They will call you a vegetable. They like a vegetable. Vegetables are healthy for us. We don't want to eat them, but they're healthy for us. So by him saying you're a vegetable, it's like you are a healthy person, but people are mistreating you. They're eating off of you. That's what he says that. And I'm like, man, this dude is one of the greatest writers ever. Like there's stuff we're picking apart to this day, almost 20 years after his death. That's so crazy. But yeah, there's a whole different meaning to that song. And yeah, he does say you're a vegetable.
All right, let's bring it back. Yeah. So
Doctor Strange.
Got a question for you. In a crisis, right?
Yes.
It's fourth in the season. It's fourth and the Earth is over. Mm-hmm. Who are you going with? You going with Tony Stark or you going with Dr. Stephen Strange? It's a good question, isn't it?
I feel like I'm going to go Doctor Strange because I think sometimes Tony does things instinctively without understanding
the
consequences. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I think Doctor Strange does that too. And a lot of the time people, if someone were to argue with me, their argument would be like, well, what about Endgame? Yeah, he instinctively went over, realized, like, hey, someone's got to be able to steal Infinity Stone and snap their fingers. I might as well do it. Like in that instance.
Well, no. Remember Doctor Strange when he reaches forward.
Yes.
So he's telling them this is the moment and it's you. This is the moment and this is what you got to do. Right.
So and again, that would be my argument for Doctor Strange. It's like Doctor Strange was the one to really tell him that. And like, I think and also just if we go to their general career paths, Tony Stark has been just all over the place saying that like he like with Stark Industries, like, I mean, given everything the pepper, and he just does things off the whim without thinking. And Doctor Strange is a doctor, and he does things to, like, he thinks in critical moments he needs to be calm. As a doctor, you need to be calm in those critical moments, because if you are not calm, someone could die. And so I do trust Doctor Strange in any final last hurrah for anything. I will trust him more than I will trust Tony.
Okay, that's fair. Now let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
It's been rumored that a lot of people are going to die in the upcoming Doomsday film. I mean, a lot of folks.
I have heard.
Do you think that Doctor Strange is one of those people? Because I don't see how the Avengers move forward without a Doctor Strange. But give me your thoughts.
I've heard that he's not in the movie, and honestly, I don't think Doctor Strange will be in this movie. I think we will see every single Marvel character except Doctor Strange.
Okay.
I think we will see him in Secret Wars.
Okay.
Because right now, if you think about where Multiverse of Madness ended, he's on his own, like, quest right now. I don't know what they're doing, what him and Charlize Theron's character are doing at all, or what at all.
Yeah.
It looked like they were going to a portal to the dimension that Dormammu was in. That's all I can think of. He's got a third eye. I don't know what that's going to be about. I don't know where he's headed. I have so many questions. So it wouldn't make much sense for him to die in Doomsday. And based off of where his character arc has been, I feel like we have not gone on that big of a character arc for Doctor Strange since we were introduced to him in this movie to this point in the timeline.
Okay.
And so he's the only character out of all of the Marvel characters right now that we just have no idea we're like, where are you at right now in life? Like, are you even on this existence? Like, and so I think he's going to be in a different dimension this whole film.
Okay.
My prediction was we were going to get a third Doctor Strange film in between Secret Wars and Doomsday.
Yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen though.
It's potentially between July 27th or 2028. So wait, they're coming one after the other, are they not? So there'll be Doomsday, and then Secret Wars will be December the very next year, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
You might be right. You might be right.
I thought that would have been something, and that would have been a great way to set up Secret Wars, and like sort of like how Ant-Man and the Wasp set up the time travel in between Infinity War and Endgame, and Captain Marvel set up her return. Or not return, chronologically speaking, return, but her introduction for Endgame.
Right.
So that this movie could have done the same thing for Secret Wars and like any potential solution in that. Right. But I don't think he's going to be on world when all of this is happening. Okay. When like all these worlds are colliding, I don't think he'll be. I don't think he'll know what's going on.
Okay.
So I don't think he's even going to be in the film. In fact, of every Marvel character from the mainline MCU, so not multiverse, so not Toby or Andrew or any version of the Punisher, not Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, not any of the X-Men, from the mainline MCU, I think he's the least likely character to show up. I think he's the least likely character. And people will say probably Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but I think he's going to be in it. It'd be very hard. I actually, a part of their contract, I'm pretty sure, is that he's going to be in every Avengers film. So we'll see. I doubt it. And if he's going to die, it would probably be in Secret Wars. But I just don't feel like I don't feel like we've gotten on that character arc. All right, let's think about what all we've seen Doctor Strange in. We've seen him in Doctor Strange.
Yep.
We've seen a brief appearance in Thor Ragnarok in comic accurate attire, including the gloves.
Yep.
We saw him in Infinity War.
Yep.
We saw him in Endgame.
Yep.
We saw him in Multiverse of Madness.
Yep.
5 films. And think about where Steve Rogers, think about where Tony Stark were by the time that Endgame hit. Like they were making cameo appearances in other. Well, Tony was making cameo appearances in other things. Cap was in his own trilogy. He was in Avengers, 4 Avengers films. Like he was in 7 films. Tony was in, oh my goodness, he was in 4 Avengers films. He was in 3 Iron Man films. He was in Homecoming. Going into that, so I feel like we are not at that point that for Doctor Strange. Like I want to know, unless he ends up one of the main characters, because someone's got to be a main character in Secret Wars and Doomsday. Like in Infinity War, in my opinion, the main character is Thanos. And I would say of the heroes, the main heroes in that are Tony, Doctor Strange, and probably Wanda. Even though she doesn't have that big of a part, it's just she's very important and integral to the story, and you follow her a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So in an Endgame, it's Tony, Steve, and I would say Tony and Steve. Those are the main characters, and I would say Ant-Man's got an argument too, and Black Widow. I would say Black Widow's got a great argument. But unless he's one of the main characters of Secret Wars or Doomsday, and his story from Multiverse of Madness gets tied up into Doomsday, I very small chance. I think the odds of him dying, I would give it like maybe a less than 5% chance. I don't think it's like a less than 1% chance. I'm gonna say less than 5% chance that it happens.
Okay. All right. I can dig it, man. Well, hey, it's that time, sir.
It's that time.
It's that time. We have to rate this. So I gave this, after careful consideration, a 7.5 out of 10. And I am going to say that it is, I'm going to say it's right above X2 on my list.
7.5.
Yeah.
Right above
I didn't give it an 8 this time, Jordan.
No, you did not.
Ha ha. All right. Now I'm going to guess you, and I know that you like this movie. Very few movies ever get the moniker of 10. So I know you didn't give it a 10, but I'm gonna say you gave it. This feels like a movie you give an 8.5 to. Maybe not a 9, maybe not an 8, but I know you love the special effects. I know you love Doctor Strange. So I'm gonna say you gave it an 8.5, but I could be wrong. So now tell us, Jordan, what did you give it?
All right, let me add this to the list. So, all right, I like this movie a lot. I won't say cookie cutter formula according to most people, especially critics. A lot of critics use cookie cutter formula when it comes to the plot of this movie. Although I do love the way this movie begins. I'm invested in this character from the beginning. I like his sarcasm. I like how there's clearly something wrong and he needs to work on himself. He does that throughout the film. The special effects, this might be in my top 5 best, maybe no. I would probably say top 10 special effects of any movie I've ever seen. So, but the plot itself is pretty standard. The villain sucks. Whether you look at it as being Dormammu or Kaecilius is awful. Mads Mikkelsen is a great actor. His great experience, but he really, I understand why he's frustrated and he doesn't ever want to do any comic book anything ever again. I understand that. He wants to kind of looks down upon comic book stuff.
Isn't it funny how some actors are that way? Like, dude, you're an actor. Everything that you do is make believe.
Yeah.
But there are really some people who look down on comics as though they play like real life. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you know,
That's the way I look at it.
it's
Yeah.
just funny to me. Like, everything you do is make believe, but this is somehow substandard to that. It's a lower grade. No, come on, man. It's inferior. Anyway, go ahead. I mean to cut you off, but go ahead.
And this gives me an idea for what we should do after, but I'll talk to you after about it. But I would put him maybe bottom 3 villain in any
Yeah.
of these movies
Yeah.
we end up doing.
Yeah.
It's just he's really forgettable.
Mhm.
He doesn't have any sort of purpose. It's just more like you lied to me, so now I'm mad. That's really it. I'm just like, you're
He's
not
like
even
a starter villain.
Yeah, you're not even a
Like
mustache twirling villain at this point.
No,
You're
he's a starter villain. He's
Yeah.
like somebody that, you know, you work out when you're just starting. You know, he's
Yeah.
like a starter marriage or a
Yes.
starter wife or a starter villain. Like, you know, he's not. I mean, he's a total devout servant to Dormammu, but he's not even that savvy. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I would agree with that.
So, with that, I mean, yeah, the plot itself is like has great moments and then really boring moments, but it's solid. I think overall this is a really good movie. Overall, I give it a 7.5 out of 10 as well.
Oh wow!
I think this is just a good movie. Like, you're either gonna really enjoy, like, there's gonna be people who fall in love with this movie,
Right?
And there's gonna be people who just are like, it was just a little much. Then there's gonna be people who smoke weed and do drugs and watch this movie and are gonna be like, "Whoa, bro!" like, you are good. There's when I'm recommending
would you say this movie is polarizing?
Yes, I would, because, and especially from the critics' standpoint, this movie is very polarizing. I don't know what the Rotten Tomatoes score was, but I'm curious what so it got an 89%. I don't know if that's critics or audience. Let me see, Rotten Tomatoes. So it has an 89% critic score, 86% audience score. This is also peak. This is phase 3. So this is peak Marvel. So I do feel like critics and audiences might have maybe given a little bit more impression on this. And I think they did that. I personally think they did that with Black Panther, but I love Black Panther. Did we do Black Panther? I feel like we're all over the place right now. Did we? Yeah, we did do Black Panther.
Yeah,
I love Black Panther. But I don't. I think that one of the scores is like extremely high, and I'm like, well, slow your roll there, big guy. But a lot of the movies around this area, if you were released at all, and at this point, you're probably really high. And I think this is just a solid movie. I don't think there's too much, which with the special effects that come with this, I guess if you were to make this palatable for the average person, you needed the plot to not be too advanced.
Yeah.
Because everything else is like the concept, the multiverse, the concept of time travel, the dimensions that are in play, Dormammu himself, like that's a lot to handle. And visually, it's a lot to handle. That's why I said if you're into like doing all those little like, or then you probably would be very intrigued into this movie.
And pretty hungry and very hungry.
Very hungry, especially for a nice grilled cheese or a nice pizza or tacos from Taco Bell specifically. Don't forget to get a Baja Blast.
I love Baja Blast.
I love Baja Blast too. But this movie has a lot going on.
Yeah.
So it's like they needed to make the plot simplified so that the average person would be fine watching this movie. For me, I would have been fine if you made the plot more detailed because I would have understood it. Look, I'm not gonna call myself a know-it-all or anything, but if I don't understand something, I'm gonna try and learn it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I will admit if I don't understand something, and then I will try to learn it. That's how you grow as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So if you made the plot really advanced for me, I would have probably slowed down and tried to understand the movie.
Right.
And that would have then made the average audience probably not understand it, but it would have probably made the film like on a critical level way better, like extremely better. And I think there's the stuff that you would have touched on, like I said in the beginning, I would have liked to have touched on the beginning. I think we could have dove a little bit deeper into Strange and his struggles. I think having parallel arcs with the villain and the hero in this could have bode well for the film itself. But I think overall it's a palatable movie. It's a solid movie. Could have been a lot better. Yes. Could have been a lot worse. Yeah. I think a lot of the special effects do a lot of carrying because it's something that we haven't seen since, and that in my opinion, I don't think many other films have done something like this. One film that I will compare this to from a special effects perspective, Inception. Inception does basically this.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. That is
but it does it on an Oscar-winning level.
Yeah,
like but here's the thing. Is Inception palatable to the average person? No.
Yeah.
So Doctor Strange is I'm going to be the first person to say this because I've never heard anyone say this. I unless someone has, then you can comment and you can prove me wrong. Doctor Strange is the Taco Bell to Inception's
Ruth's Chris. Yes, Ruth's Chris.
I was gonna say Olive Garden or some steak.
No, Ruth's Chris.
Some steakhouse, something.
That is a steakhouse. Ruth's Chris is the steakhouse.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Ruth's Chris is 2 hours of awesome. Okay, you leave your body, and it's a heavenly experience. And I swear to God, if you ever come down to Atlanta, I'll probably need 6 months warning. But I will take you to Ruth's Chris so that we can dine amongst the gods.
So
just saying.
But Inception is a lot to handle for the average person. And it's one of those movies I had to go back and watch it multiple times. And I'm like, this is such a brilliant movie. I love Inception.
You know what movie was like that for me?
What?
Was like that? Tenet.
Tenet is like that too. But Tenet is... All right, so this is perfect. I'm glad I'm glad you brought up Tenet, because if Doctor Strange had all right, so if it improved the plot, it could have gone the route of either Tenet or Inception. Because Tenet is widely regarded as just not a. People just don't there's going to be a few people who think this is one of the most brilliant things ever, but then there's a lot of people who don't understand it, or they're like, this isn't that good. And Inception is what happens when people understand it. Yeah. And you dumb it, and they do dumb it down in the movie for you. And that's what, the whole scene where Leonardo DiCaprio is literally walking through with, I forget what her name is, and walking through how things work, and it dumbs down for the audience. So Doctor Strange, if the plot had been improved, could have gone one of those routes. So they wanted to play it safe, have a simple plot. That way it's palatable for anyone, which is why I say it's a Taco Bell movie.
Hey man, it's a $673 million Taco Bell. So
yeah, Taco Bell is one of the biggest franchises in the world. So it's not a bad thing to be a Taco Bell.
Yeah,
it's just you could have improved. That's not a bad thing. It's just no, you
could have been Ruth's Chris. You could have been Ruth's Chris. It's all good, man. I'm surprised we both gave that a 7.5. So I'm feeling good about my movie skills because I can't believe Jordan and I saw it the same. Normally I'm I'm a little bit higher than you, but I can't believe that. So that's awesome. Anyway, wow.
Now, I will say,
Uh-huh.
because you have so many 8 out of 10s, it is a lot lower on your list
Yeah.
than mine. Even though we're both 7, we both agree
Right. Right.
on what we gave it in
Right.
terms of our ranking. I do think higher of it than you do in terms
You
of the
do,
whole skill.
and it could be evolution on my part, or it could have been that you do think higher of it,
Or
or
you
it's
like
probably
8
a
out
little
of
bit of both.
10s. You like 8 out of
Probably a little
10.
bit, yeah, probably a little bit of both.
I mean,
So.
we can't all be 10 out of 10s like the Philadelphia Phillies, the Philadelphia Eagles,
I knew
Sixers, the
that was
Flyers.
coming.
I mean,
I knew that was
sometimes you got
coming.
to be 8 out of 10s, like the
Oh,
Braves, like
well
the Falcons,
played. Well
like.
played.
I mean, well, one
Well
of your teams
played.
doesn't even exist, but
Oh wow.
I mean,
Oh, wow.
did
I
you like that
deserve it.
thrashing you got there?
I deserve it. We're not even going to get into that. We're not. But I deserve it. I fair enough. That's fair. I deserve it. It's all good. Well, hey man, what are we doing next? I think we got Jessica Jones season 2. Is that right?
Jessica Jones season 2, yes.
All right, and we'll be doing that Thursday coming up.
Let's see. No.
Yeah, Punisher one shot. But that
Punisher.
airs Thursday, does it not?
That airs on Tuesday.
We're gonna do it right after it airs. Then.
Are we sure
or that night?
Do it? Are you gonna be ready for that? We'll talk about that after.
Yeah, you're right. I probably will.
We'll talk about that.
We'll do something, guys. But hey, to everybody who joined us, we appreciate you. Thank you. You guys could have been doing anything in the world. You chose to watch this with us, and we are appreciative. We love Marvel content. More importantly, we love bringing it to you. So please keep coming back. You can see Jordan and I both at For My ATL Movies on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. Okay. Jordan, tell these folks where else they can see you, buddy.
You can find me at Ultegacy, Ultegacy on all social media platforms. You can also follow me on Letterboxd. You can see all my rankings for everything. I just finished my rankings for Daredevil Born Again Season 2. We won't get to that right away because that's a lot of episodes to cover, and we're going to do it chronologically. That's the only project this year that we will keep in the chronological order of things. Plus, we want to go back to Daredevil. We still got to do Daredevil season 3, and which is fantastic. We got to do Daredevil Born Again season 1, and then we'll go back to season 2. We want to do it the right way when it comes to Daredevil. So we will do Punisher next. We'll do then Spider-Man Brand New Day when that comes out, and then obviously we'll be done all of this by the time Doomsday comes out. But otherwise, and I don't know when Vision Quest comes out, so I don't know anything about that. Actually, I thought I saw a leak earlier today. Turns out it was AI, so I don't. But there's AI involved in whatever project this is. I don't know anything about Vision Quest. Like, I've given up hope that this is an actual thing, that this is just not made up. But yeah, you can find me on Letterboxd. Yeah, I do have my rankings already for Daredevil Born Again Season 2. I'll probably go back and rewatch it because I think I have a little too high.
Season 3, you mean?
Born Again Season 2.
Oh, wait.
Born Again Season 2 just wrapped up.
Yeah, sorry about that. You're right.
So I do have my ranking already for that. And any movies that I'm watching, I'll end up putting on my Letterboxd. Sometimes I'll put it on my Instagram, so you can follow me on Instagram if you want. Like the most recent movies that I've watched, the last 4 movies I've watched. I watched Being John Malkovich, which was that was a movie. That's all I can really say. I don't really I don't like, I've heard so many people talk great things about it. I'm just like, I don't know what I've watched. I felt like it was just a bunch of stuff. Okay. All right, whatever. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I enjoyed it. I liked it. Michael, which we did the review. You can go and watch our review on that. Michael was magnificent.
Amazing. Chef's kiss.
And then I watched Into the Wild, which I had read the book on that years ago. The movie, in my opinion, was a little disappointing compared to the book. I love the book a lot. Into the Wild, I liked it, but it just wasn't the book. But yeah, that was the most recent activity for me. And then we will be ready for Punisher One Shot. What is it? One Last Kill?
One Last Kill, yeah.
One Last Kill, which, I mean, inherently it's not his last kill because he'll probably be killing more people. So I'm very confused by the title, but we'll see. We'll dive right into it. I can't wait for that.
That we shall. I cannot wait for it, man. It's going to be great. Jordan, as always, you know I love doing this with you, buddy. Hey, to everybody who did join, thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. God bless. Be safe. Good night, everybody. And yeah, man, go Marvel.
This movie was about
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classes, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the